You have probably consumed alcohol before, or at least seen it. Beer, wine, whiskey, vodka, champagne. Today, alcohol is everywhere. Restaurants, parties, celebrations, entire industries are built around it. But have you ever wondered something strange? Who was the first human to discover alcohol? And perhaps more importantly, how? Nobody invented alcohol in a laboratory. Nobody sat down and decided to create beer. Alcohol existed long before humans appeared, long before civilization, long before agriculture, long before the first cities. In fact, nature had been making alcohol for millions of years. Ancient humans simply stumbled upon it. The story begins with something surprisingly simple: fruit. When fruit falls from a tree, it does not remain fresh forever. Microorganisms begin breaking it down. Among those microorganisms are tiny fungi called yeast. Yeast consumes sugars and produces alcohol. This process is called fermentation. It happens naturally, no human intervention required. Leave sweet fruit sitting long enough, and nature starts brewing alcohol by itself. Imagine a prehistoric forest tens of thousands of years ago. A pile of overripe fruit lies beneath a tree. The fruit begins fermenting. The smell changes. The taste changes. The chemistry changes. Eventually, some curious animal eats it, including humans. And something unusual happens. They feel different. A little dizzy, a little relaxed, a little less cautious, possibly even euphoric. The first encounter with alcohol may have been entirely accidental, and ancient humans were probably not the first animals to experience it. Many modern animals accidentally consume fermented fruit. Elephants, chimpanzees, monkeys, birds, even insects. Scientists have documented numerous species consuming naturally fermented food. Alcohol is not uniquely human. What is uniquely human is what happened next, because humans began experimenting. Early hunter-gatherers were experts at observing nature. Their survival depended on it. They noticed which plants were edible, which animals were dangerous, which locations provided water, and eventually, which foods produced strange effects. Over time, people likely learned that certain fruits became intoxicating under specific conditions. The discovery may have happened repeatedly in different parts of the world, not once, but many times. Because fermentation is surprisingly easy. You do not need advanced technology. You do not need metal tools. You do not even need agriculture. All you need is sugar, yeast, and time. The ingredients were already everywhere. But accidental encounters are one thing. Deliberately producing alcohol is another. At some point, humans stopped merely finding fermented food. They began creating it, and that changed everything. The oldest known evidence of intentionally produced alcoholic beverages comes from China. Archaeologists have discovered residues inside pottery vessels dating back roughly 9,000 years. The chemical traces suggest a fermented mixture of rice, fruit, and honey. In other words, one of humanity's earliest alcoholic drinks. This is remarkable, because agriculture itself was still relatively new. Some of the first farmers were already experimenting with fermentation, and China was not alone. Evidence of ancient alcohol appears throughout the world. Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Caucasus, Europe, South America. Different cultures, different ingredients. Same basic discovery. Fermentation transforms sugar into alcohol. Some societies focused on fruit. Others used grains. Others used honey. The result was an incredible variety of drinks. Wine, beer, mead, rice wine, and many beverages that no longer exist today. One of the most important developments was beer. Ancient Mesopotamians were producing beer more than 5,000 years ago. In fact, beer became so important that it was woven into daily life. Workers were sometimes paid in beer. Religious ceremonies included beer. Entire sections of society depended on it. To modern people, this may seem strange. Why would ancient civilizations place so much importance on alcohol? Part of the answer involves safety. Ancient water was not always clean. Rivers could contain harmful microorganisms. Stored water could become contaminated. Fermentation sometimes produced safer beverages than untreated water. Not perfectly safe, but often safer. Beer was not merely recreational. It could be practical. Alcohol also became deeply connected to culture. Feasts, celebrations, religious rituals, political alliances, community gatherings. Throughout history, alcohol repeatedly appeared wherever humans gathered together. And there may be a biological reason for that. Some researchers believe humans evolved adaptations for consuming alcohol. This idea is known as the drunken monkey hypothesis. According to this theory, our primate ancestors regularly encountered naturally fermented fruit. Animals capable of digesting small amounts of alcohol may have gained an advantage. Fermented fruit often contains more calories, and its smell can help locate ripe food. Over millions of years, natural selection may have favored animals that could tolerate alcohol, including humans. The theory remains debated, but it raises a fascinating possibility. Perhaps our relationship with alcohol began long before humanity itself existed, long before stone tools, long before language, long before civilization. Yet alcohol has always carried risks. One reason alcohol became so widespread is that fermentation does something remarkable. It preserves calories. In a world without refrigerators, preserving food was a constant challenge. Fruit spoiled, grains attracted pests, harvests could be lost. Fermentation offered a solution. Not only could it transform food, it could also help preserve it. Ancient people may not have understood the microbiology involved, but they understood the results. Certain fermented foods lasted longer. Certain fermented drinks remained usable for extended periods, and that made them valuable. Alcohol was not merely something people drank. It became part of survival. It also became part of trade. As settlements grew into towns and towns grew into cities, alcoholic beverages became valuable commodities. People transported beer, traded wine, stored fermented drinks in clay vessels. Some regions became famous for producing particular beverages. Others imported them from far away. Alcohol was becoming more than a local curiosity. It was becoming an economic product. In some societies, it even became a symbol of status. Rare wines and imported drinks were often associated with wealth and power. The ability to host large feasts filled with food and alcohol demonstrated influence. Rulers understood this. Priests understood this. Merchants understood this. Alcohol was helping shape social hierarchies long before modern nations existed. And the more humans refined fermentation, the more sophisticated alcoholic beverages became. Generation after generation improved recipes, experimented with ingredients, developed new brewing techniques. What began as naturally fermented fruit eventually evolved into some of the most complex beverages ever created, all without anyone fully understanding the chemistry behind it. Ancient people understood this too. Historical records from many civilizations describe intoxication, hangovers, loss of control, and social problems linked to excessive drinking. Alcohol could strengthen communities, but it could also create conflict. The same substance that appeared at celebrations could also appear in warnings and laws. Ancient societies constantly balanced these competing realities. Some embraced alcohol, others restricted it. Many did both simultaneously. And despite thousands of years of experience, humans still struggle with that balance today. What makes alcohol unique is not simply its chemistry. Many substances alter the human mind. Alcohol became special because it emerged almost everywhere, independently, across different continents, different cultures, different languages, different religions. Again and again, humans discovered fermentation. Again and again, they learned how to harness it. Again and again, alcohol became part of daily life. Few inventions spread so widely, because in a sense, alcohol was not really invented. It was discovered. Nature created it first. Humans simply learned how to reproduce the process. And once they did, alcohol became one of the most influential substances in human history. It shaped trade, agriculture, religion, politics, economics, medicine, and social life. Entire industries eventually emerged around it. Empires taxed it. Religions debated it. Scientists studied it. Governments regulated it. Yet the origin of all that complexity may trace back to something surprisingly ordinary. A piece of fruit left sitting on the ground, slowly fermenting beneath a tree, waiting for some curious ancient human to take a bite and discover something that would help shape human civilization for thousands of years to come.